One of my intentions is to be a Spider-Man, but with the head of a spider and the body of a man. So I'm like 3/4 there.
Hi, I'm Glenn Allen.
And I'm Aaron Salentine.
And today we're going to tell you about how to get out of your own head and stop overthinking so you can enjoy your life more.
All right, tell me if you can relate to this. This is a true story of mine. A few months ago, I was at a party with some friends, and in that moment, I really wanted to appear as someone who was socially engaged and confident in myself. What ended up happening was I got so in my head the entire night trying to figure out the perfect way to be that I ended up actually missing out on that entire moment.
So today we're going to share with you 5 practices that both Aaron and I have tried out that have helped us get out of our own heads.
Practice number 1 is knowing your values. When you know what your core values are, when you know what you showing up as your best is, when you know what's important to you, and you live that out, and then you experience rejection, you don't have to go down that spiral saying, what could I have done to have been better? How could I have received the acceptance I could have received? Your simple framework for deciding whether that interaction was good or bad is now, did I show up as I want to be? And if that answer is yes, then that internal mind game that you play is now over. I'm gonna give you a story here. Recently, I went to the gym. I was in spin class, which
Is for girls.
and also me. I was getting off my bike and I ended up stepping on a guy's sweater. It's like a small thing, right? But he ended up looking at me and he was like, do you mind getting off my sweater? And I was just like, I'm gonna be kind in this moment. I'm not gonna like return his, attitude with attitude. I was like, oh yeah, not a problem, man. Sorry about that. I, said it with a smile, and he kind of just looked at me like, what's your problem? It sounds so small, but I know months ago that interaction would have caused me to go into my own head, and I would have thought immediately how I was maybe too kind to that person, and I should have tempered down my personality to have matched kind of his demeanor. But I didn't do that this time. It was one of the first in my life. Instead, I left that place thinking, you know what? I want to be known as a kind person. And even though someone else isn't kind to me or maybe rejects that kindness, doesn't mean that I should stop valuing or living out the core values that I have. I didn't spiral. I didn't go in my own head. I didn't think about all the 1,000,001 ways I could have done that situation better. I thought, oh, that person doesn't value kindness. And that was it. That one small thing would have spiraled me for a good hour, thinking about how I could have done that better. One of these small commitments I've made, I want to say hello and be friendly to the people that work the front desk at my gym. I just feel like everyone kind of comes through there all the time, barely acknowledges them. And so like early on, I was like, I'm always gonna say hello and I'm always gonna say have a great day. I don't know where that came from, but I've done it like consistently every time. I've made myself. And there are times where I go to the front desk and that person's like, does not care that I said hello to them. And I've even thought like, should I stop doing this? This seems foolish, but I haven't stopped. And so sure enough today, this morning, I just said, hey, how's it going? And I noticed the guy had a new haircut. And I was like, oh, you got a new haircut? It looks good. And he was like, oh man, thanks for noticing. And funny enough, as I was walking away from the front desk, I overheard them talking about me. And the guy was like, that guy is one of the nicest guys that comes in here. He always says hello to me. And the other guy was like, yeah, I know. He is just so friendly. Or I can't remember what he said. He's so amazing. And you can tell he works out constantly. You can tell that those spin classes are really paying off. But it was so refreshing because, again, had I dealt with rejection and decided I'm not going to be a certain way because of rejection that I experienced, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have been my best self.
Practice number 2 is exercise. When I was going through my divorce, it was really hard for me to sleep at night. I kept replaying the events over and over in my mind. I kept thinking of things that I would want to say to this person. I had a really hard time not pacing and having anxiety. And so even when I do things like go and hang out with my kids or my friends, I had a hard time just enjoying the moment because I was just playing these moments back in my mind and I wasn't really present. And so to help me sleep and to help me clear my mind and shut my thoughts off, I would take up running. I did a lot of weightlifting And one of my favorite things was kickboxing. So what I'd like for you to do, if you could,
Kickbox your computer right now. Just kick it. Just give it one good kick and then let me know how it went.
punch your monitor,
Punch your mom.
vigilante crime fighting.
You don't get caught, you don't feel bad.
Do us a favor, in the comments below, why don't you tell us what your favorite way of letting off some steam is? One of the biggest benefits of doing this is that I was able to take mental anguish and turn it into confidence, to turn it into muscle, to turn it into stamina. And at a time where I was really feeling low in my self-esteem, having my body transform over time really helped bring that self-esteem right back up.
He turned into a car. All right, so practice number 3 is the practice of meditation and mindfulness. So for me, being able to add in even 10 minutes to my day, to just take time to meditate, I use a guided meditation, but just taking that time out to recollect my thoughts, almost be in my head purposefully so I can get out of it for the rest of the day has really made a big difference.
Yeah, what I've noticed is I'm not as reactive, and that's a really helpful thing in a role where, I have a very creative role in my workplace. I do a lot of graphic design, things like that, things that have to be presented to people, and I have to get feedback, and that's hard to do. It can be very defeating sometimes when you put a lot of time into something, and then you get some constructive feedback that maybe you weren't expecting, and it's really easy to suddenly want to defend yourself or react right away. And meditation has almost slowed down the brain in a good way, almost like bullet time in the Matrix, where you're able to just dodge the bullets and just take a second and think and not react right away.
So one of the things that meditation has taught me is to be aware of my breathing. There's many times where I won't realize it and I'll be taking short breaths, and it's because I'm getting anxious, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so my brain starts to swirl and swim, but all of a sudden, because of my meditation practice, I'm able to sense that. And so I've incorporated just even quick 5-second breathing techniques where I'll breathe in for a second, breathe out for another, and count till 5 just to get my breathing down. And it really helps me lose the anxiety and again, re-enter into the space that I'm in, being more present.
Number 4 is journaling. I'd recommend, if you can't get rid of the mental clutter, put it down on paper. That has been a big help to me. What I do is I just simply get a journal and I just go stream of conscious. I don't edit anything about it. I get brutally honest and I just brain dump everything there. And what's interesting is day after day, you might start to see some patterns and some similar topics come up. Those are usually things that maybe you should deal with. And so self-reflection really helps bring things to the surface that you might not have otherwise been aware that you're focusing on and need to deal with.
So I have a rule with myself. It's the 3 strikes rule. If a reoccurring thought comes to my mind 3 times, then I know it's something that it needs to get out. I use a website called Penzu, P-E-N-Z-U. I'll just go on there, I'll log out my thoughts, kind of like what you said, total brain dump, no judgment, and then I get it done, I get it out, and I go back to my work. And then the last practice is setting a morning intention. One thing you're going to hear from Glenn and I often is this concept of the whirlwind of life and how it can just basically take over our day, and we want to live purposefully. And so one important practice that we put into place is every morning we take that time to set intentions for ourselves for that day so that we know that by the end of the day, there are certain things, actions that we're going to take that are truer and more important to us than just responding to the chaos. What's great is it's before the morning texts and emails and Instagram start. That's also part of the whirlwind, is all of those things in your day that are trying to grab your attention that do, right? And then before you know it, your attention has been everywhere but where you want to be.
An intention that I set is to get up earlier than my kids because I want our mornings to go well. I don't want to be grouchy with them, and I know that if I wake up at the same time as they do, they're kind of lethargic and they're just moving very slow, and I start getting impatient with them. And so it helps for me to be mentally alert and to help them get their day moving, and I'm more pleasant and their day goes better. One of my intentions has been to bring a sense of joy to my interactions with other people, and so I actually have to think of that first thing in the morning and imagine going through that so that when I do get into social situations or I say hi to my coworkers or something like that, I don't just kind of put my head down and just stay stuck in my thoughts and go straight to work. But I bring a sense of a little bit of energy to the situations that I find myself in.
He visualizes himself tickling everybody and them laughing.
It's weird.
There's been complaints. Glenn, one more tickle. I swear to God. I don't know why they have any country accent. It's the surprise part. I don't know what's worse, the surprise or the tickle. There's like signs up. This is a tickle-free area, Glenn. Again, it's all about priorities, right? Waking up early is difficult. No one typically wants to lose sleep or have to go to bed earlier, but I can tell you for myself that has been one of my favorite morning rituals now is I get up and I go to the same little cozy spot that I have. I open up my performance journal and I just think through again, how do I want to show up today? I basically get in tune with my core values again. How do I want to be? What's important to me? And there's a part of that in that performance journal that talks about like, who do you want to connect with? How do you want to show kindness to them? You know, I have 2 beautiful daughters. With all the busyness of work and everything else, it can be almost kind of easy to just relegate them to the margins. There's many times where I'll set an intention of, I'm gonna send a picture or a text or something to my girls to show them love today. And when I'm successful with that, it reconnects me with my core values and I feel more fulfillment in my life. One of the intentions that I've set recently is I try to be invisible. Did I do it?
He did it!
Oh my God. All right, YouTube, do us a favor. In the comment section, write out one intention that you're gonna set for tomorrow morning.
And while you're at it, please subscribe to our channel, like this video, and share it with your friends. Thank you so much for watching.
One of my intentions is to be a Spider-Man, but with the head of a spider and the body of a man. So I'm like 3/4 there. One of my intentions is to sing like Seal, but not the artist, the animal.
One of my intentions is to get kissed like a rose on the grave. Kissed by a rose on the grave? What are those lyrics?
You gotta sing it to know it. Baby!